Alex,
you know, this attitude must stop. Randy, this attitude of Sly must stop. It's a figure. You say you don't agree. Why? Have you stopped him from talking again? You come out and say, look, Alex, that 125 you said was wrong. It's 123. And I'll say, okay, leave it at 123. It doesn't change the point I'm making.
Right.
If it's 2 ministers from 125 to 123, it doesn't change the point I'm making. If it's 86 and you say it's 85, it doesn't change the point I'm making.
Right.
So this interruption should stop from Sly. It's the third time I'm sitting with him. He's been doing it. Stop him. If not, I'll tell him my peace of mind.
Yes,
I will. You can tell me. I'll tell you.
It hasn't gotten to that.
It has but you cannot do
your peace of mind might not be offensive.
It will not be, but
yes, of course. If it's not offensive, I'm fine.
I'm never offensive.
Alex, okay.
But I want him to know.
Let's hear you.
My never answer my PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, see them yopo
between the two. Now, when you come to the ministerial nominees, you realize that out of the 6, only 1 is a non-MP, Asama Boating. All the other 5 are in fact MPs who are in the house with all of you and who have been together for close to 3 years or so. Those are some interesting things that I've found out. I mean, the same group of people who voted, in the case of the ministerial nominees, same people voted for the 2 judges. And you see the contrast. And then if you come to the composition of the ministerial nominees, you find out that 5 out of 6 are actually members of parliament.
Good morning, once again, Randy, and good morning to my senior brother. To my constituents, I'm sorry that people are seeing me state I am this morning, but
real men cry.
Yeah, Randy. Again, let me say that this is much ado about nothing. And for me, it is obvious that the NDC did not have a position beneficial to this country except for their political expediency. So the decision reached by the NDC as a party, and Randy, don't forget, I've sat here and said I disagree with party leadership issuing instructions to members of parliament through the media space.
You have.
And so when our General Secretary issued a directive to members of parliament, I disagreed with it. So it means you've tied the hands of members of parliament to be objective, use their conscience as much as possible. If you were to be in caucus meeting, perhaps members would have expressed their opposition or otherwise to the whip system. And even if they had opportunity to express it, and after that it remains a whip, then you are bound by that decision. But when political parties think that they can remote control parliament from the headquarters of the party, it becomes a bit problematic. Look, political parties, we all in parliament because of our political parties, and we respect that. That is why in our caucus meeting, the General Secretary, the chairman, has unfettered access to our meetings. So it would have been good if such communications are done within, other than using the media. Look, Andy, what are we talking about? And ever since the NDC kept saying, I said here also that I wish some ministries could be merged. It doesn't mean I have full facts as to the direction the president is going and why he's doing what he's doing. So clearly, one would have thought, if it's about economic, then by this time, the NDC should be collating some numbers and tell Ghanaians that if you reduce the number of ministers from this to this, these are the gains you're going to make. And let me say this. I commend the president and also say that the 2 ministers, Minister for Agric and Minister for Trade, were all non-MPs. Think about it.
You mean the previous ones?
Previous ones were all non-MPs. Yeah. This time, he's brought in members of parliament, Honorable Katie Hammond and Honorable Brian Echambu. If you're a member of parliament and at the same time a minister, none of them who are members of parliament and ministers or deputy ministers are taking salaries other than what they take from Parliament. So it comes to the administrative setup.
I guess slightly more.
Slightly more, less than a percent, slightly more.
Yeah,
so it doesn't burden the taxpayer as much as perhaps the gains we would have gained from it. So we should be interested in looking at the real cost as it is. So that is one of the points I want to make for people to avoid the administrate. And then point number 2, Randy. The members of the executive, especially ministers and deputy ministers and MMDCs, there's been a 30% cut in their salaries. Nothing could be so sacrificial than cutting 30% of your salary because of the situation we find ourselves. So that is a huge savings to this country, to say the least. NDC did 10%.
You are in government. Can I ask this question? In the scheme of when I hear when size of government, the issue of human beings is one. The realignment of ministries.
Yes, I was
it's another.
About it, yeah.
So there are some who would argue that the issue of compensation is really not that much, because when it comes to the cost expended by the state on a minister, it goes way beyond the compensation. I've sat in this studio and I've said that sometimes some things don't make sense. If a minister or a deputy minister is expected to fly business class, the cost of his airline ticket for one round trip is more than his salary.
Yes, so then it goes to what goes into administering the said ministries, agencies, department, as it were. So you look at the executive directive with respect to that. In the budget, the executive had cancelled all conferences and seminars outside the premises of ministries, departments, and agencies.
Is it been enforced?
It's been enforced.
Really?
Yes. The ones you see in the hotels and the rest are all donor-funded programs, sponsored not by Ghana government. Check. It's a check. These are directives. So I believe that we should be scrutinizing such directives rather than looking at them. I had a private conversation with the member of parliament on the other side. He said, it's easy for John Mahama to do 60 as he's promising. I said, look, I can even promise 40 or 20, depending on what you want to achieve. And he said, if you look at, as of, and I reminded her that now we don't have deputy ministers to regional ministers. It's a huge drop. Previously, it was there. And he said, regional ministers are not part of it. I said, look, Akufo-Addo's 85 deputy ministers and ministers are inclusive of the regional 16. Ministers of 16. So bear in mind, NDC didn't have 6 more regions. John Mahama did 86 before he left office. Now Nado has 6 more regional ministers today, and he's done 85. I would have thought that some could be merged. But like I said, where I sit, but what is the work of the Appointments Committee of Parliament? It's important we interrogate this devoid of political inclinations. And I've had private conversations with some seasoned lawyers at the other side. They share the same view. Randy, if you look at the Constitution, the standing orders of Parliament, the role of Parliament in appointment is to check the eligibility. So why would Parliament Appointment Committee be coming, the appointing authority itself, usurping the powers of the president? Are the people before the Appointment Committee, are they eligible by age, soundness of mind, no criminal record? These are things we have. That's
a narrow way of,
you can say
scrutiny.
You can say narrow way.
Yeah.
Scrutiny goes even whether you've engaged in any criminal activity. All these things will be brought to fall. So that is your job. So, Mr. President or Parliament, we did not find anything adverse against this group of people. So you can stretch the scrutiny as far as you can. So if you don't find anything adverse against them, there's no single adverse findings against any of these 6 gentlemen. So what is your basis to say that we reject the appointment?
That
You want to do the job of the president?
No, that we disagree with the size of
No,
government.
please. There are two things here.
Oversight
Randy,
includes that.
Oversight do not give you the permission that this is your mandate, but I'm curtailing the mandate from you, unless you enact a law.
How?
Why how? Because your job is to scrutinize and find whether or not the person is suitable for the job. This argument I'm making here.
Yes.
Speak to lawyers. The mandate of Parliament.
Now, for me, it's not an issue of law.
No,
it's even
I'm
an
saying
issue
it's a
of common
matter of
sense.
law.
Because
Randy,
if Parliament
Randy,
is supposed to exercise oversight,
then very soon, one will say, like people are saying, if you're a member of Parliament or you're an executive, don't be giving anything to aid your office, as it were. Then you say common sense.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Let me come there. I'm saying that what is the mandate of the appointment committee of Parliament? First, to scrutinize and find out in a report whether or not previously I could recall under the NDC and one under President Kufuor, 2 people were rejected by Parliament on the basis of their previous track record involved in some matters that borders on security, some fraud, as it were. I don't remember. It was stated in a report and Parliament took a decision against it. That is the extent of your mandate.
Fifi Kwete was not approved by the
consensus.
Yes, at the appointments committee.
Yes,
and it had to go to the floor like this one.
Yes, I mean this is not the first time. Look, how are Thompson and the rest? There was a vote, and this is not the first time.
Yes.
I'm not saying per the majority decision report you don't go to the plenary, but I'm saying that in Fifi Kwete's case, there were issues about I remember there was something specific. It's been played even in recent times that the minority think that conduct is not worthy of him to become a minister.
That's an opinion.
So that found expression in the report. In this case,
it's an opinion.
Yes, it's an opinion that found expression in the report. So now you open, but you did not have anything adverse or an opinion to say that it doesn't make you eligible for a minister or a deputy minister. That is why I have a problem with it.
But I'm saying that
so let me come to
in the case of Fifi Kwete,
yes,
there was nothing proven that anybody could point to say that there is this evidence. But I'm saying that
I'll get the appointment whilst we are here. I'll get the appointment committee
the point I'm making
position on that matter.
The point I'm making is that I am not taking away the issue of opinion. I'm just saying that there are many times that Parliament, whether it's appointments committee or as the whole, have decided that on the basis of what they think, irrespective of what the president thinks about a nominee, what they think, in their view, that person must not pass.
But I think it's wrong.
Okay.
It's wrong.
Okay.
Please. Okay. Especially when a party that is not in is only represented by its members, who is not privy to the questions, answers, as it were, issues instructions to its members of Parliament. I'm saying it is wrong. It's a bad precedent we are setting. Look, you can criticize the size of government, but that should not find expression in decision making of Parliament.
Really?
On the face of law, it's wrong. What is your mandate as appointment committee in recommending or otherwise to plenary or the report that comes to Parliament? I would have been happy. I would have been happy to say that any of the nominees of the president, there are issues against their competence that borders on criminality, that borders on anything adverse that contravenes the 1992 Constitution. That would have been fantastic.
So
that would have been a good reason.
So you are suggesting that if a president forwards the nomination of 500 people,
right,
to Parliament as ministers and deputy ministers,
yes,
to the extent that none of them has any adverse finding against them, yes, Parliament must, as a matter of course, approve them
by the mandate and what you do and the law. The president must justify that to the good people of this country.
No, I'm saying Parliament. If a president tomorrow...
Look, Parliament do not have the mandate to say that your ministers are too much, don't bring them.
Yeah, so that's
Parliament
the confirmation I wanted from you.
Yes, Parliament doesn't have the mandate.
That if
you don't have that mandate.
Submits a list of 500 persons to Parliament.
By the current state of our laws, you don't have the mandate to say on the basis of that there are too many, so we stop it.
So on what basis?
Yes.
On what basis does Parliament decide that, although the president's budget says that it is giving X amount of money to a particular agency or a particular project, at a committee level, it decides that, hey, we must cut this?
Parliament at the committee level will never cut unless there's a basis for the cut. And the basis in this case, maybe prices have been, how do you call it, increased more than necessary, where there is an evidence to suggest that this thing you want to procure, you want to build a hospital. And we think that this hospital, comparing with other, they will even include that in the report. Based on that. So I will not say that
are you aware that just this year, your Parliament, at the committee level, has decreased or taken out allocations made to some particular agencies and departments, not on the basis of inflated projects.
What was the basis?
But the fact that they think that it is just too much. It doesn't make sense.
I have not seen that report.
Go and check.
Tell me one.
Go and check.
Tell me one. Don't tell me once you are making the allegation, the onus is of proof. I know of a situation. Let me tell you something. I know of a situation. An allocation was made to an agency. They came. Normally, you have to account to Parliament what you use the previous funding for. If you are not able to, we can use that as a basis to deny you the allocation in the current.
No, I'm saying that this year,
I haven't seen
for this particular Parliament, for this year's budget, there was an allocation to when Howard's previous ministry, which has been
special initiatives.
Yes, there's now
there's no more
an agency or a department.
Yes, it's now it's been
under the president. Their allocation.
I'm telling you, that particular incident.
Yes.
They said that we gave you approvals, some monies previously. You need to account fully for all those monies expended. Then you can ask
what about the cathedral?
Cathedral?
Yes, the allocation to the cathedral.
Cathedral. In this year's budget.
Yes.
The argument is that the cathedral, the minister should come and defend. You remember on another network, myself with Mutala, they asked that the minister for tourism is the first time they are putting the cathedral under a ministry. Yes. And he's saying that, come and justify why we should give you XZ amount of money. So the basis is that the minister, as alleged by the minority, that the minister could not justify. So there's a reason.
No.
I'm saying, why if you say no, what is it?
But you see, from what you're saying, that
what is it?
Committee in Parliament, for example.
Yes.
They cannot ask the president to come and justify
why
he's bringing 500 ministers.
I'm telling you, your job as an appointment committee of Parliament is to check eligibility
well, that's
consonance with the constitution. So let me finish. Yes, that's my view, and you can seek other views about it. So I can simply say that what the NDC is doing, they don't have any numbers to suggest that if you reduce the numbers to this level, we are going to save XZY amount of money. It's not conjecturing. And I've also told you how the president had cut the executive budget or by 30%. That's a huge saving, more than reducing ministers by 2 or 3. They haven't also come out to say that reduce your ministers from this number to this number. Okay. So what they are doing, they are just seeking to score political points. Now let me come to how they are treating their members of Parliament. Randy, people are saying that trivialize the issue of relationship built over time and stand with your party. Look, members of Parliament, at least, credit us with a little conscience that, are you saying that members on the other side should, as a matter of fact, stand with the party to deny this country and a great minister, trade minister? They haven't specified. Or they are saying that all of them should not be passed. This is a very wrong position to take in the first place. It's a wrong position to take in the first place. At least where you have deputy ministers, you can say that substantive ministers can work because, of course, national security minister do not have a deputy. You can make that argument. But to say wholesale, don't approve them. So this country should live without a Greek minister, a trade minister, in times like this. Again,
if that were the point, on the basis of how you voted, couldn't they have then voted for that Greek and trade and rejected the
they
others?
did not issue that instructions to their party.
Yeah,
they asked them.
No,
they
but
asked
we're
them.
talking about a defiance.
No, but I'm saying that.
Yes.
I'm coming. I'm saying that. They said they should not approve any of them.
Yes.
That is a wrong place, a basis to start from. But let me go to this issue of bribery. And look, I didn't see that, and it never happened. Look, nobody. Let me say this, Randy.
Is that you didn't do it? You didn't see?
I'm coming.
Okay.
Because you know what? If people are in an uncomfortable position and you indeed want to target and perhaps bribe anybody, on Thursday we had a full house. It would have gone through. On Friday we were down one man or two. Adjustafo was not in there. Honorable Baswa was not in there. You think that they will go hunting for 30 people at a go? No, that should tell you people voted on the basis of conscience. I'm being honest with you, Randy. Tell me.
No, I've not said you.
If you needed one person to scale through, you'll be going 30 people.
I've not said you're being dishonest.
Yes, I'm just being.
That means I'm just fascinated about the smile on your face.
No,
as you're making the honest assertion.
Randy, you want me to be? So clearly, it is. Randy. Look, they should respect their MPs. And you see, there's one thing they are doing on social media.
Yes.
Calling out names with pictures and all that. Look, like you said, when two members of the majority side, you know, one ballot got spoiled, and then the other went for Babin. On that night, 7th of January, 2021, you celebrated it. Even on this one, you were calling on the majority to stand with you. What of your members standing with the majority that, look, this one, you got it wrong. Why don't you do an inner introspection to say that you did not consult well? I mean, that decision, there's been many occasions they voted against decisions from the majority. But in this particular one, seriously speaking, the competencies of the gentlemen are not in doubt. These are people, they've worked with them over a period of time. But if they should be rejected on the basis of a political expediency, then they are not doing this country any good. And I think that's what your members of parliament stood for. And look, Andy, tying in this to their primaries and all that, how much money? If you know, look, I was shocked to know that NDC organization, some has as much as 2,500 delegates casting a vote. How much can one person be given to aid your primaries? Unbelievable. These are allegations that are unfounded. And you see, it weakens our democracy. Look, there are occasions that I've sat here to disagree with my own party in support of some of the things you advocate for. Let us build our democracy the way it will inspire confidence. Look, in other jurisdictions, haven't you seen members from the other side publicly? Even they have the whip system, we copy from them. In the UK and other advanced democracies, conscience must lead whatever we do. Conscience, good conscience, must lead what we do. So if it's to say that you are whipped, do this, and if it's internal, the whip, if it was internal, sometimes we express our frustrations before you go with the majority. But you did not even give the people the opportunity even to critique it. You sit in a salam down and then issued instructions to the party.
It's your party that is in Asalam that we are in Adabraka.
Adabraka. And you should. Yes, I've criticized my party also doing same from Adabraka, from Asalam down. Right. And you are also doing from Adabraka.
Yes.
I think we should watch it carefully. I'm not saying this to
Adabraka and Asalam down.
Asalam down. They are neighbors. So we should be careful why we issue those instructions.
We should vote in the same way.
Yeah. So we should be mindful of that. And let me say that I saw one female MP, but she was weeping that they've mentioned her name as part of the traitors, and she couldn't believe it.
Which MP?
I don't want to mention her name. I mean,
but she was weeping publicly.
No, she's a friend.
Okay.
Said, she can't believe it because she only came, vote, and left. But her problem. And another thing, Randy, people are showing pictures of the vote to their party leadership.
Yes.
I think that I'll raise this matter before the floor.
Yes.
But if it's a secret ballot, how can one be so disingenuous to the extent that you are going to a polling booth, then you take your mobile phone with you and go and take a picture? Jesus Christ. And in our national elections, it is an offense. And in parliament, it's an offense to do that.
It is?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
It's an offense to do that. That you go into the polling booth.
What's the
with your
punishment?
mobile. Well, I don't know. It can only be determined by
Leadership.
No, the
Orders.
privileges
Okay.
committee. One could be held before the privileges committee for that act. I think we should desist from that. Okay. It is out of the secret ballot that produced the current speaker. And I think we must hold the sanctity of parliament in high esteem. If we continue doing these things, you are making mockery of democracy. What if you go to your constituency, people are keen to vote, taking pictures of it? How would you feel about that? To be a member of parliament, you go to that. Okay. It's so shameful. It means that they want to cause disaffection for their colleagues. It's unfortunate.
Right.
Has anybody sanctioned an MP for chewing a ballot paper? Let alone.
Who chewed a ballot paper?
When the speaker's this thing was going on, have you forgotten what?
You can raise it before the speaker. It hasn't come before the speaker.
Please, let me. You see, when you are trying to
chewing is better than snapping.
You understand? People are chewing ballot papers and they are still walking around in parliament. Nobody has asked a question. You are talking about snapping a photograph just to make sure that your name is cleared because of the heightened tension. No. It's for me, there's no comparison. If you want to really crack the whip, start with that one. That people chewing ballot, MP snatching ballot paper and go and chew it. You haven't done anything about that when you're talking about snapping photograph. Please. There's no comparison whatsoever. So if you can't deal with that, don't talk about snapping photograph.
So you think it's okay?
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying that you have a history of not dealing with issues. And so don't come and start dealing with these issues now. You don't deal with issues. Lack of sanction in this system is there. It's our indiscipline across board. And if you don't deal with the indiscipline, you have a problem. That act that took place, that almost cost a big, because of those type of behavior, military people walked into our parliament. You are not talking about that one. Who ordered it? We are not talking about that one. You're talking about somebody who has snapped a photograph. For me, it's a non-comparison issue. So let's not go there.
On the basis of what you just said, yes. Alex, and Sly, you can also take note of that. Later on, you can comment on that. There are people who have said that in the spirit of transparency and in deepening democracy, such votes should be public, like we see in the American Congress or Senate, where people get to know how their MPs voted on issues, and therefore, if they are taking decisions on those MPs, they do so on the basis of the conduct of the MPs. So I know how my MP voted when it came to e-levy. I know how he voted when it came to the budget. I know how he voted when it came to this one.
As Supreme Court judges, when they vote on matters, they give their reasons, and it's known public.
But what do you make of it?
I think that there are pros and cons.
Okay.
If we had gone down the road of public voting, we won't have Speaker Bagby.
That's why you're celebrating it.
No, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Let me be honest about
that one you are celebrating.
So you are sure that you will not have an MP who would get up and say that, well, my constituents would agree that this man should not be
Why
speaker.
do you think that instead of allowing their people to go through a voting process, the NPP asked their people to walk out in the recent issue that cropped up? Because you cannot legislate for how people are going to behave. But when they asked them to walk out, did anybody stay behind? Everybody left. So that answers the question you have raised.
So that's party.
If people
that's party over people. Because you see, the people who make that argument say that after 30 years, our democracy should advance to a place where you see the MP, yes, it's on the ticket of a party.
Yes.
But his responsibility must also be to his constituents.
Yes.
There are those who cast the votes.
Yes.
And the decisions he takes in parliament must reflect their will.
Yes.
But it looks like now it is more of the will of a party, more than the will of, let's say, constituents.
How many MPs go back to their constituencies and hold a debate on an issue?
Because the arrangement in Parliament
Yes.
does not make them that responsible to the
So you
constituents.
pick your MP on the belief that he will do the right thing. That is what is happening now. So he
Because
makes a
not that
decision.
for even your party people,
Yeah.
many of them will be looking for those who voted for the nominees.
They are looking
Exactly.
for
That,
them.
for example,
They are looking for
if
them.
they knew that you are Segbefia, you voted for them,
Yes.
they'll be waiting for you.
Definitely. Definitely.
I know some people
You
will
understand?
suffer their primaries
You
because
see,
of this.
now that is why I said we should be circumspect in how we deal with that aspect. But let me come back to a number of statements my colleague has made. One, because the main factor was the size of government that was being trumpeted, that didn't mean that there were not other reasons why people didn't want certain people to go. After all, they had all different numbers. And that creates some issues with regard to the point I'm making. We had very serious issues with Brother Champong, and he was questioned about the part he took in the Ayawasu West Wagon.
It is not in a report.
I'm saying that these were issues that were put. I haven't seen the report, so I don't know what has been put in your report. You are telling me it's not there. I don't know that it's not there. But there were questions as to the part he played. He gave answers. Insofar as his answers do not negate the fact that nothing has happened to anybody who was involved in that matter, it doesn't totally absolve him from suspicion that he had some part to play in it. So that was hanging. The utterances of your colleague, the gentleman who was crying on telly when you were in opposition, that things are so hard.
Sticker.
What's his name?
Sticker.
Sticker. Is it Sticker?
Yeah.
Stephen. Were that his utterances to, as you were thinking about Fifi just now, or we're talking about, his utterances are such that
Like what?
many people, take it or leave it, many people had issues about how he conducts himself and what he has been saying. So you can stretch it up to a point. But I go with you, Randy. Parliament has an oversight responsibility. And the NPP have a knack of trying to stretch everything to the point of, excuse me to say, absurdity when they want to apply law. And you made the valid point. If you had 500, is Parliament to say that, because the president has brought 500 clean people, you should have 500 ministers? But that's what they already have done. Because they had 125 ministers. You shouldn't sit here and make it like it's 86. It isn't 86.
It's what?
It was 86 in the second term.
Was.
It was 86. It is 86 in this term. It was 125.
It is 85 now.
It was 125 in the first term of their government.
It is not true. It was 122.
You are not shy to even say it.
No, but
Look, let me tell you.
are putting out figures and you are not being.
Listen.
You are not being honest about it.
No, I'm not being dishonest.
Randy, this is the second term of the president. You cannot
Please,
say.
why can't you let me
please.
speak?
But I won't allow you to speak.
Allow
putting out figures
you
that
put
are not
out
true.
things which are also wrong.
Like what?
You
are saying the president had 125
That
ministers
is
and
my
it's not
view.
true. It is
So-
not about your
so
view.
correct-
It's about
so correct it when you
it's
have your
about public
chance.
records.
No, correct it when you have your
No, but
chance.
this
Don't
kind
interrupt
of-
me.
It's okay.
You
Are you
your own story.
Are you
about
the
it.
own? Are you the bastion of all knowledge?
No.
You have now become the bastion of all
No,
knowledge.
no.
What is this?
Alex,
This is a
go.
public
He can never
record.
sit down and let me speak. What's his problem?
That's okay, Alex.
Didn't you see me keep quiet throughout
Let's
all
hear
your
it.
questions and answers?
No.
I don't understand him.
Let's hear you.
This is a
I
public
told you that when he
record.
gets to insult me, he'll get time to talk.
Oh,
He
but
forgets
insult
about
you for what?
it.
I will never
No,
insult. I've never
I'm not saying
insulted
insult in terms of in those terms.
Alex,
But he should allow me to speak.
Alex,
let's hear it.
After all, I was writing. You have paper. If you think that you have something to
Look,
correct,
but
say
this,
that. Oh,
this
Alex
issue of
Segbefia,
you have paper.
you said
point of order.
you said-
I was telling the point of order.
Slide.
That look,
Slide.
it is not
Slide,
125.
Just take notes. Just take
No,
notes.
but Randy, you know.
It's okay. Just take notes.
It is not 125.
Yes.
It is not 86. Let him put the correct figures out there.
Just take notes. Alex, let me hear you.
You know, this attitude must stop. Randy, this attitude of sly must stop. It's a figure. You say you don't agree. Why? Have you stopped him from talking again? You come out and say, look, Alex, that 125 you said was wrong. It's 123. And I'll say, okay, leave it at 123. It doesn't change the point I'm making.
Right.
If it's 2 ministers from 125 to 123, it doesn't change the point I'm making. If it's 86 and you say it's 85, it doesn't change the point I'm making.
Right.
So this interruption should stop from Sly. It's the third time I'm sitting with him. He's been doing it. Stop him. If not, I'll tell him my peace of mind.
Yes, good.
Hey,
Yes, good.
I will. You can tell me. I'll tell you.
It hasn't got into that.
It has but you cannot do
Your
this.
peace of mind might not be offensive.
It will not be, but
Yes, of course. If it's not offensive, I'm fine.
I'm not never offensive.
Alex,
Okay.
But I want him to know.
Let's hear you. Let's hear you.
You understand? Yeah. Now, that 125 or 123 is a difference of 37 ministers
Right.
in the first term of the Nana Addo government. We won them. It's an expenditure that we are paying for.
That was when we had 10 regions, right?
They started with 10 and then they went to, it was when they added the 6 that it moved to 123. If he says, I believe it's 125, he can correct it. I don't really mind. For me, it doesn't change anything. Because if now you have 16 and you could do the 85 or 86 as you say, why didn't you do it the first time? Why did you give us all this expenditure at that time, which we are now paying for? So let us be clear that this idea of clapping for yourself because you have reduced from where you should never have been is wrong. They should never have done it. It's not a justifiable position.
Right.
Now, if you look at the specific individuals, as I've said, we had issues with them, but the main thrust is, and I agree with you, oversight responsibility of Parliament. This idea of having any number of ministers you like, or yes, so Parliament is not involved in the size of the numbers in Parliament, in the presidency. So you've bloated it to that figure. And up to today, we are telling you reduce it. And because we are saying it, you won't reduce it. They have absolutely no excuse. Maybe they are not feeling the pinch from the economic situation we find ourselves. So they think that life is hunky-dory. But the oversight responsibility of Parliament should not be minimized. And as to whether bribe was not paid, Sly should restrict himself to say, I was not involved in any bribery scandal. I was not involved in any money movement. And put us others to proof as to whether money exchange or not. He can have that belief. But there are others with the belief also that money has exchanged hands in this matter. And that is, they are entitled and they know who it was. After all, he is a member of Parliament. So is Ricky Segbefia. Ricky Segbefia is also a member of Parliament. Ricky Segbefia came out public and told us that, as far as he is concerned, money has exchanged hands. So if you are all fish in the sea, and you are trying to tell us the condition of the crocodile, we can all listen to both of you because he is also in the river with you. I rest my case.
Randy, let me say that my senior brother should come down. I mean, few interjections are allowed in political discourse of this nature. So you tell me your peace of mind. I hope the peace of mind will be friendly. You've shared a very big platform and I have so much respect for you. We've never crossed our lines as a matter of fact, so you should come down. What I was seeking to say was that he's aware that numbers these are public records. These are not matters that is difficult to find out. It's 122 of his first term. And his second term, even before he was sworn in, he issued a public statement that his ministers, when you had never even made demands on him, that his ministers will come down to 85. He won't go beyond that. And he's kept it aside. There are further calls, and I've made that point in this studio, that some ministries could be put together. But of course, he is the president voted for. He has more information than perhaps what we do and what he expects them to do to achieve what we want him to achieve for us. So there have been persistent calls. And I'm saying that the parliamentary oversight does not extend to the realm of making the decision for the president. You have your limit to which you can work and the scope within which you can work. We should scrutinize that. This issue of I don't know whether Honorable Ricky Tegan was also offered monies or not, but I said that. But the numbers that voted, I could see that people voted based on conscience. If they think otherwise, and I'm sorry to say, He's a member of the national party, not a small member, senior member, director of international relations. He may have insider information within their ranks better than my good self. So for me, I cannot begrudge them. But I know what they've set to do, targeting individuals within. Look, Randy, we're growing a democracy, and consensus building must be part of our democracy if we fail to do that. And I share the view that we've come of age 30 years. We should begin to make our decisions public, and let's defend them and stand by it. Because there are many people who think that some of the things I say about this government, I should not, or I should be mindful. You're a young man. I say, what? These are my candid opinion on national matters. But when I'm giving a superior argument, and indeed, it's worth considering, why not? So for me, I think that this issue targeting members I know some members will sadly lose their seats because of this. And to the extent that party foot soldiers are plainly insulting them. And I'm expecting the national leadership of the party to call the truth. I mean, there should be some words from some videos I've seen are so
But you have a party foot soldier insulting you because you support Alan.
I'm saying that this, look, and in my constituency, the party has taken an action on that. It's been suspended. But I'm saying that this is the party has taken a decision, and it's since been suspended. So I think that if we don't crack the whip and let people know that their actions are wrong, we'll continue. How do you insult the whole minority group in parliament because some voted the way you were not expecting? I think that the party leadership can interrogate it rather than insulting them, subjecting them to this public ridicule. It's unfortunate.
Right. There will be a lot more voting coming up in parliament. We'll interrogate one after this break.
Which voting is that? The taxes.
My never say PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.